What's going on, guys? Frank Chris from Massthetic and in today's video, we're going to talk about mass building workouts for your back using cables only. Now, I think we've all been kind of told or been sold this idea for the past few years or decades that in order to build muscle mass, you have to use free weights. It's the only way to build muscle is heavy compound movements using strictly free weights. And I'm here to kind of educate on the belief that you can truly build muscle using any type of resistance. Our muscles respond to one language, and that's tension. How can we apply tension through the maximum contractile ability within a muscle? So the tools that we use, whether they're free weights, whether they're machines, whether they're cables, are simply variations or variable tools that we use to be able to apply that tension. So while I do believe that free weights are a necessary component of your training, I want to educate and teach people how you can actually build muscle through using cables. Now, I've talked a lot about this in my best-selling program, Massthetic Muscle. It's actually built on the principles known as the precision hypertrophy principles, where we actually apply varying resistances through different points of the strength curve. So if you want to learn more about this, head to the link in the description box, www.masstheticmuscle.com, and read more about these precision hypertrophy principles. But in this video, we're going to go over 3 variations of cable exercises with 2 variations per movement that you can apply to your training to build muscle mass within your back. Now, obviously, this can be one workout that you use in your arsenal, or these can be, you can pick and choose pieces of these and apply them into your training. But where this is going to come into play is maybe you're traveling, you only have access to a small limited hotel gym, or maybe you're working out in a busy commercial gym and it's one of those points where you don't really have access to a lot. So these are exercises that use cables, use that level of resistance that can actually build muscle. Because remember, guys, our key focus is applying tension. What can we use to get maximum tension, maximum load put through the muscle? And like I said, guys, it can be free weights, it can be cables, it can be machines. All these tools are at our resource to be able to use. So we're gonna go over these 3 different variations of these exercises and walk you through how you can program a workout using nothing but cables to build a big, massive muscular back. Here we go, guys. All right, guys, our first exercise here in our mass building back workout using cables is gonna be a lat pull down. Now, we're gonna go over 2 variations with this. First one we're gonna start with is really gonna hammer out and really put a lot of tension in that lower lat. So we wanna have an underhand grip. What you can see here is I do have access to 2 handles, so that's the option that I've chosen with. If your cable only has 1 attachment though, grab a straight bar and grab a shoulder width underhand grip. Now, as you can see, my first intent or my first movement is a retraction of the scapula. This is going to activate and turn those lats on. And then as I'm focusing on driving my elbows down during the movement, I really want to get the vertical plane of the lat involved here. So I'm thinking about driving my elbows down to a certain point where I can't go down anymore. Then I'm going to squeeze and bring them back. So like I said, guys, this underhand variation is really getting the lower lats involved, really focusing on that shortened position of the lats. Our second variation of this pull down is going to be a wider grip. And as you can see, I have a slight bend at the waist, so I'm leaning back slightly. Now, I'm not allowing momentum to come into play, so I'm staying in this fixed lean position, but by the path of my elbow traveling, you can see that more of the upper back is getting involved. One thing we want to keep in mind when we're training our back is think about where our elbow is directed. So if our elbow is running vertically down, that's going to be more of a lat. If our elbow is coming more in an elevated state, kind of focus on where our upper back is going to come into play, that's the part of the muscle that's going to be involved. So that's the best way to really know what part of your back is working through a movement, is where's my elbow path directed. So first movement, guys, here is going to be lat pull down, starting with an underhand grip, 3 to 4 sets, and then we can go ahead and change our grip, go with a wider pull down, get a slight lean back, and do another 3 to 4 sets, about an 8 to 12 rep range, and focus more on that upper back teres major part of the back. All right, guys, second exercise in our mass building back workout using cables is going to be a seated cable row. We're going to do the same thing that we do with the lat pull down, is we're going to do 2 variations of this movement. First, we're going to start with a slight lean forward. So here, once again, I'm trying to get my lats more involved in the movement. So by having a closer grip with my hands, focus on driving my elbows down as they come back. So once again, this is really targeting and working the lat portion of this movement. Like I said, you want to make sure that you're keeping a slight lean forward, not over exaggerating it, but just really focusing on keeping your core fully engaged, and then a slight bend at the waist. And as we're pulling back, we're thinking about keeping our elbows as close to our sides as possible. Once again, really focusing on pulling through the lats. The second variation of this movement is going to be another upper back focus. So we're keeping the same handle, same grip, but instead of focusing on pulling down, we're thinking on pulling our hands apart as we row. So as you pull, literally think about pulling those handles apart. Getting all that musculature in the upper back involved, some rhomboids, some mid and lower traps involved in this movement as well. So second movement, guys, here in our mass building cable workout is going to be a seated cable row. 2 variations, first one starting with the lats. Second variation is going to be pulling the hands apart as we row back, really get that upper back musculature involved. All right, guys, finishing off, third and final movement here in our mass building back workout is going to be a straight arm lat pull down. Now, my favorite way to do these is using dual cables. What I feel is it gives me more free range of motion at the top, allows me to get a longer, deeper stretch, and then as I pull back, it allows me to really pull my hands apart, really getting those lats shortened and contracted. So if you have the option to do this, I do recommend doing it with dual cables or at least a longer cable. But if you only have straight bar, if you only have a way to do it, that's okay as well. What we're thinking about doing though is the same thing with all of our movements. Our first movement wants to come with a retraction of the scapula. So anytime we're getting our back involved, we want to think our first movement is here, getting those lats activated, lats engaged. We don't want to pull from a protracted state because that's going to get rear delts and a lot of the shoulders involved. So retract first back, thinking about driving your elbows down as you pull back. So once again, like I talked about, really getting those lats shortened. Now what I've done to extend this set out further is at the end I actually bend almost to a 90-degree position at the waist. And then at that point, it's really a shortened contraction. So I'm really just focusing on the lengthened part of the lats. So as you can see here, I'm bent fully at the waist and really just getting a short few inches of that movement, keeping tension, driving blood, driving nutrients into those lats. So third movement, guys, is going to be a lat straight arm pull down. Like I said, if you have 2 ropes, use the dual rope variation, but if not, make sure you're keeping the tension through those lats, guys. All right, guys, there you have it. Mass building workout for your back using nothing but cables. Remember, when you're trying to build muscle, your muscles are going to respond to one language, one thing, the tension that you can apply through them. So free weights, dumbbells, cables, machines, these are all just resources. They're tools for you to use to apply that tension. So master these principles, master these concepts, and your gains are going to go through the roof. If you want to find more out about the precision hypertrophy principles, hit the link in the description box, www.masstheticmuscle.com. I got a whole article written on this, on how you can use these varying resistances to best optimize and best program your training. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, man. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you had yet to, make sure to subscribe to the channel. What I have for you is I want to give you 1 free week of Massthetic muscle workouts. So if you're looking for a program that's going to incorporate the variable resistances, the variable levels of training, I'm going to give away 1 free week of these workouts. So hit the link in the description box, enter your email address, I'm going to send a report over to you right away. Really appreciate you guys tuning in today, and I'll talk to you soon.